Welcome to the another exciting episode of the Zoom on Sales podcast. Guys, as you know, where we explore the journey and insight of the extraordinary entrepreneurs and leaders. Today, I'm really honored to have with us Selena Ella Moon. Selena is a beautiful lady, a mother of one beautiful child. She's a transformational coach, speaker, and the founder of Mind and Body Unleashed. Selena, raised in Canada by entrepreneurial refugee parents, Selena has not only built a successful career from a young age, but has also empowered countless others to do the same through her unique blend of initiative coaching, NLP, and the energy healing. Selena's story is one of the resilience, innovation, and unwavering dedication to helping others reach the full potential. So, first of all, as a CEO of Zoom on Sales, I am very excited to talk with her. And Selena, welcome to my show. Please tell us about yourself and what you have accomplished in a few years.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. First of all, it's an honor to be here, and I'm grateful to share. It's been quite a journey. As you know, Abdul, I've recently given birth to a baby girl. She's turning 6 months old this Wednesday. It's been quite a journey, and she's really made a big impact in our lives and where we want to go in terms of what we want to build. But leading up to her, I have quite a story. And in the last decade and a bit, I have been running my own business. It started off as a gym. And I just learned how much I really loved helping people when I used to work for a corporate gym. And I ended up helping a man lose 200 pounds. And he tattooed my name on his arm. And when he tattooed my name on his arm and told me how much I helped him, he didn't just tell me, he told the whole world. In fact, he told so many people I was actually able to go off and start my own company because of how many people he shared this with. So it was in that moment that I knew I had something special to offer. And I knew that this was beyond personal training. This was something that was spiritual. It was something that was mental. It was something that was emotional. And I realized that I just have this knack to connect with people through my empathy and through my intuition that goes beyond exercise. It goes beyond the mind. And so I decided to start my own company then and there. And within the first week, I had 23 clients and I was busy as ever. And I went through a whole series of events to realize that what I do is not just in a physical way. And I had all these spiritual gifts that I'd never tapped into before, and all these intuitive abilities that I'd never experienced in a way that someone was able to mirror it back to me, that I finally started to understand who I was and how I serve. And as a result of that, I became very educated. I started becoming an NLP master. I became certified in Reiki. I started studying things like psychosomatic therapy and psychology. And I was very interested in things like quantum physics and metaphysics. And I just kept practicing and practicing and practicing with people until I had a whole full-fledged transformation in my business from a gym straight up into an energy healing practice into full-fledged workshops that turned into over 100, 200 events that I've now done online and offline, facilitating spiritual personal development. And of course, very, very, very excitedly, I've been really tuning in and fine-tuning over the years to focus on entrepreneurs. And they're my favorite people to work with, entrepreneurs, because I grew up with a family of entrepreneurs. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 16. I started my first math tutoring company at the age of 16. And since then, I've always known within me that if I ever did work for someone, it just cannot last long, not because there's something wrong with me as an employee, but because my soul is here to do what it came here to do, and that's to lead. And so I've had the opportunity to help hundreds and hundreds of people through workshops, retreats, all kinds of events. I've been hired to speak at various masterminds across North America, Chicago, California, Niagara Falls, Banff, Canmore, Toronto, Calgary. So it's been quite a journey. And I have a feeling it's just starting based on where my daughter is taking us. So this feels like it's just the beginning of my life. And it's exciting.
Yeah, 110%, like become parents is an amazing experience. And yes, when we became parents, so things are going to be changed, and
Yeah.
God become more kind, and we get a lot of blessing. So,
Yes.
Selena, you have accomplished so much in your career while also being a mother. How does having a child shift a woman's energy in the way and the way she operates in business? Like, what
Yeah.
kind of this?
I think it's a totally different experience. Personally, I feel like my child is always looking at me and I feel like she's picking up on everything that I'm doing. And there's this sudden, strong desire to consistently set a good example. And part of setting a good example for me means also self care and being able to maintain my own emotional balance and meditations and health and well being and exercise and things like that. And so for me, postpartum has been very intensive given I had a very traumatic labor experience. I was in the hospital for 5 days, and all kinds of things happened during that 5 days that put my body into a shock. And so, coming back out of that and then into the world with a newborn and a completely changed body has been a very, very, very self-care oriented process for me. And as a result, I've had to really fine tune my business in terms of what is it exactly that I want to do. I don't want to take something that I only sort of want to do. I don't want to take a client that I kind of want to work with. I only want the big yeses, the ones that are sent by God, the ones that I know, like, yes, our souls are aligned. I'm here to give you my best. And that's it, because my time is limited and my body needs to heal. And I have all these hormones running through me that I need to address every moment, every day. And I cannot maintain that level of taking client after client because I've got so many other things going on. And so now I feel like my value has probably gone up 100%. Like I just feel like my time is worth so much more. I feel like a badass, if I can say that, having gone through what I went through. I just feel like my sense of worthiness has skyrocketed because I my body has shown me a miracle, right? And to have a child come out healthy, I think, is a miracle these days. And I don't know if you agree with me. I know you have too, but it really feels like a miracle when that child comes out of the body and is healthy. I think that's something that I'll never take for granted. But it also makes me feel like a superhuman, because God gave me that opportunity to hold this soul in my vessel. And now my vessel feels upgraded. So despite all the things that have happened to my body, I energetically feel like I can give so much more than I ever did before she was born. So the potency of my service feels higher, but the value of my service also feels higher.
Yeah, I totally 110% agree.
Yeah.
And like it's a great experience, and yeah, but it's kind of challenging as well. So
Yeah.
but in the end, it's a great feeling when we became parents. And so, Selena, what in your experience, what do you believe it takes for a business to preserve through times of difficulty?
Yeah.
Are you on this?
Definitely. I think that if you have a business that's connected to your heart and to your soul, that every moment that goes by in your business where there are shifts happening, where just there's very obvious signs that something needs to change, I think it's so important to continue to stay connected to your heart and don't go into fear. Because the moment you go into fear, you might be throwing your whole dream away. You could literally just end up letting go of your whole business, going to work a job somewhere and completely forget your purpose, completely forget your path. And I've seen a lot of people go through that during those difficult times, but I will say that I think every business does have its highs and its lows, and I feel like it's possible to generate more and more and more highs over time. And
Mhm.
those highs don't necessarily have to reflect wealth. They can reflect impact, they can reflect growth, they can reflect fulfillment, they can reflect purpose, they can reflect so many things depending on what your indicators are of success, right? For me, my indicators of success are, am I on my soul's path? Because if I'm not on my soul's path, then I know that no matter what I do, I'm not going to be happy and I'm not going to feel successful. So I always tell people that go back to your heart, go back to the reason you started and ask yourself if that reason still holds for you. And then ask yourself what you need to shift in yourself or your business in order to persevere. Because if you don't do the inner work, or if you don't access new information to get things pivoting, then you're going to end up either going backwards or getting stuck.
Yeah, it's really impressive. And as I know, like when you start the coaching, you never did any kind of, but you start with your parents, like you start the counseling. So
Yeah.
please tell the audience that story. It's really impressive. It's really like how you start the heal with your parents.
Well, you know what? I was thrown into circumstances from the age of 8. Somehow people just knew to turn to me for answers within my family and even within my extended family and my parents' friend circle. I remember when I was a kid, adults would pull me aside at parties and they would put me in a room and they would say, okay, listen, my husband's cheating or this is going on with my body. And somehow I was only 8, but I just knew the right words to speak. I always felt like I had the information for people. And it wasn't something that I learned to do. I didn't take a class or a course on how to be a coach. I just could tell, because I was empathic, I could tell that my words were making a difference. And I could tell how people were shifting as a result of my words. And I could see people getting lighter. I could see their energy body shifting. I could see their eyes transforming. You know, when you can see someone's wrinkles in their foreheads just start to relax, or when you can see someone's jawline just start to like relax a little bit and someone's body language start to shift, that those were all just little mini symbols that I could see that were reflecting back to me that what I was saying was useful. So I was getting this positive feedback from a very young age that what I'm doing is helping. And that's all I wanted to do since I was a kid, was just to help people. And so I realized that I had this gift to help people through my communication. And in order to establish that gift, all I have to do is surrender my mind to the divine. And that was all it was about. It was always just God speak through me, God speak through me, God speak through me. It was never about me or studying a way of speaking or a way of doing things. And so as a result of that, I ended up expanding my capacity to work with a diversity of people, right? And I didn't have to have the personal experience. And I think that's why people turned to me at such a young age, because they obviously knew I didn't have the personal experience. It was because they just somehow knew that being in my presence and a few words of mine would be enough to shift them into the right space. And so that's how it all started. It wasn't like a big aha moment one day where I was like, I want to be a coach. It was just like, well, I've been doing this for all my life. Why don't I just make a career out of it? So it's been a part of my career. It hasn't been my whole career, but it's been a part of my career. And I feel like it will be for the rest of my life, because it's just something that comes naturally and people seek me to do this. And I don't often market myself or put myself out there as a coach in such a way, but yet there's always someone reaching out to me asking me for coaching. So it's just part of my blueprint.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing. So, Selena, like every successful person has some support system. Like for you, who provide you the unconditional support, and what do you think the importance of sport, and how does investing in the right sport act as a game changer on all levels?
Absolutely. So for me right now, my husband is like my biggest support. I think that before him, I really struggled because I didn't know who to look for support, and I didn't know who to hire for support. I did eventually come across someone that has been a major, major, major game changer for me and just really helped me to energetically see through my own blocks where I was holding myself back. And for me, I had to learn to stop turning towards the ones that were the most heavily marketed, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I felt like some of the ones that were most heavily marketed were actually the ones that spoke in a different language than that it resonated with me personally. I always felt like what people shared in the business world, I'd go to all these different conferences or I just talk to different coaches. I do all kinds of consultations. And I always felt like I was being put in a box or like being programmed to do something a certain way. And just the way that my soul is built and the way that I am, I just know that I don't fit into boxes. I don't fit into programs. I know that I need to do things on my terms and my way. And so that made it very challenging for me to find support, because none of the support that I was using was supporting me on all levels, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. It was just trying to help me with my business. But I don't think any anyone who has an entrepreneurial venture is that their venture is separate from their holistic being. I think it's part of our holistic being. If you operate a business that is not an entrepreneurial business, that's a different situation. But if you have your heart and your soul is connected and tied to your entrepreneurial venture, I don't think you can treat it the way that business coaches will treat it. And so what I learned over time was I didn't need a business coach. I needed someone who saw my soul. I needed somebody who could actually help me to address what was going on in my emotions and my spirit to help me to align myself so that my business could be successful. And when I found that, everything started getting 10 times better and 10 times easier with way less effort. And that's what I do for people. That's really what I
Yeah.
do for people now. Yeah.
Exactly. And first of all, it's a clap for your husband for the unconditional support. And
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely he's a gentleman.
Very
So
gentleman, very connected as well. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So Selena, as you know, like entrepreneur, the name of the difficult challenges, and he face daily challenges. So,
Yeah.
what life changing affirmation should every entrepreneur use daily?
Yeah.
What
This took me a while to get right, but I finally came across it through some channeler. I can't remember who it was, either Cryon or maybe it was Matt Kahn, but it was this one line that said, I know who I am and I know how I serve.
Mhm.
That was a game changer for me. And I know it sounds so simple, but if you just apply it to every area that you actually, even when you walk into a grocery store, right? It's like if you say to yourself, I know who I am and I know how I serve, suddenly you're talking to the person beside you. Suddenly you're having a different kind of conversation with the cashier. Suddenly
Mhm.
you're even buying healthier food because you know that you need better food in your body to serve at a higher frequency. So like everything I feel as an entrepreneur surrounds this notion of knowing who you are and knowing how you serve. If you don't know who you are and you don't know how you serve, figure it out. Because if you just try to do a million different things, but none of them actually are a reflection of your true self, you're going to end up feeling like you're just a fake. You're a fraud, right? Because you
Mhm.
haven't done enough searching to know that this is not who I am, right? And I understand there's a process, and part of figuring that out is trying and wearing many different hats. But I think at the end of the day, there's something to be said about tuning in and meditating and getting clarity and being able to pick up the signs, just like I did when I was 8, and just tuning in and seeing the body language shift of the people that I was serving. That really
Mhm.
helped me to know this is who I am and this is how I serve. So that's my
Exactly.
affirmation. Sorry.
Exactly. As per me, what I do, I try to improve the system on a daily basis. When I go to the office, I try, and my wish is that this system is going to be work without me, like
Yeah.
either I am here or not. So that's a main goal. Like I totally agree with you, and I understand what exactly you are trying to say.
Yeah.
So, Selena, finally, how do you see the connection between self worth and the net worth? How does one influence the other?
That's a big, big, big lesson that I've had to learn over the years, is that no matter how gifted you are, no matter how powerful you are, no matter how much change you have the capacity to bring in, there's not going to be a whole lot of you're not going to generate a whole lot of wealth from that if you don't know how worthy you are, and if you don't feel empowered within yourself to value your gifts. And I think that that's something that a lot of people struggle with, especially startups, because they have to know the value of what they bring to the world, and that can be hard because often we're just comparing it to what it is that other people do, right? And this can show up in so many ways, Abdul. I just want to tell you a quick story, if that's okay. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, yeah,
So,
sure.
we're interested in this particular land in Cape Breton Island, and the individual who is selling it for 10 times more than any of the land on the same road. And when people are asking us, why, he's crazy, why is he selling this land for 10 times more? Well, it's funny that we're not disturbed by this. And the reason we're not disturbed by this is because this man has spent 9 years moving through his 150 acres, literally with hand tools, creating trails. And
Mm-hmm.
the trails that he is creating and removing dead wood and caring for the land, right? And all the other people in the area, they don't care to do such things to their land. They live on 60 acres, but they're just living in their house. They don't go traveling into their whole land to discover what's there. Now, this man has discovered waterfalls. This
Mm-hmm.
man found a lake. This man found a creek, right? This man found moose. This
Mm-hmm.
man is housing all kinds of animals that feel safe there and actually reproduce there and have their babies there because they know that they're safe. Whereas the other lands, these animals are getting hunted, right? There's no trails, there's no waterfalls. There could be, but nobody has taken years to go and through the paths and try to find this. So he's charging for what he believes the worth is of the 9 years that he has gone in. And I believe he will get that, whether it's from us or somebody else. I believe that land, he will get around what he's asking for. And I think everyone around here is going to be pretty pissed
Mm-hmm.
off in a good way. I think it's going to show them that, hey, this man, he values the efforts that he's put into his land. And
Mm-hmm.
I just saw that as a perfect example of somebody who has the ability to turn things around and make an impact and know their value, even though everyone around disagrees. He's holding it down, and we're proud of him for it, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Selena, very important question that I'm going to be asked. As I know that you are going to be help the superwomens, those are doing the business. And I want to know how you are going to be help them and what value they are going to be get from you. Like they are the thousands of struggling women,
Mm-hmm.
they are doing their businesses and you are already helping a lot of them
Mm-hmm.
in their business challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of like services, what kind of consulting and coaching and how you are going to be heal them and
Yeah.
what kind of benefits they are going to be get from you and
Yeah.
how all the things if we consolidate and what is the impact in their personal life and what is the impact in their business life.
Beautiful question. So, in my experience, whenever I connect with a client, what I find is that they're operating in some false belief systems and out of sync with their divine rhythm and their divine order, which means that they're thinking things about their business and themselves that are not true. They're thinking they have to work this amount. They're thinking that they have to offer this way. They're thinking they have to charge this amount. They're thinking that these are their clients or that they have to lose before they win. They have all these stories. Many people that come into business have a lot of stories based on their conditioning. So the first thing I do is I address what is your conditioning around your business that's not serving you. Because if I'm hearing a message that you can be a millionaire in the next 3 years, then that means that there's a big opportunity for you to be a millionaire in the next 3 years. And
Yeah.
we need to address what could be blocking you from receiving that. And so what I do is I help people to realign themselves to those belief systems. But in many cases, women feel like, oh, I have to do this all on my own. And so there's issues around delegating. There's issues around getting a partner. There's issues around knowing that when to stop. There's issues around overworking and burnout and things like that. So what I do is I help people to remember that how to work more efficiently and how to work more productively in less time rather than overdoing it, if that makes sense. Are you still there, Abdul? I think I might have lost you again, but I'll keep talking just in case you pop back in. So my clients have told me that in the time that they have worked with me, that they feel much more connected to their soul. They feel much more excited about their work because they're doing something on a soul level. They're doing it with purpose. I help people remind them why they're here. I channel information about why their soul is here and how it came to impact others. And then I actually give them guidelines on how to take what it is that they're doing and maximize it by offering them the right information, whether it's charging more or less, whether it's working more or less, whether it's working smarter, not harder, whatever the situation may be. I really want to support women, especially, and helping them to develop better business actions that are also a part of their meditative practice, that are also a part that respects their bodies and respects their rhythms. And so these are the things that are most important to me when I'm working with women. And I've had a lot of women come to me and say, hey, I just don't even know what to do with this. I have all these ideas. And I say, hey, let's just get together. We'll brainstorm and I'll help them create this huge plan. And once they have the plan set out, I say, okay, now you're going to just do this in bite-sized pieces. So I'm a seed planter, and I'm an activationist. So what that means is I plant new seeds of information for people, and I help activate those seeds so people actually feel energized to go out in the world and to be who they are. And to be proud of who they are and to execute it in a strategic manner so that everything is always growing in their favor and they're able to help more people and do the things they love and also have work-life balance so that they're not just working all the time, but they're also spending time with their partners and also doing the things they love and getting enough sleep and able to actually eat the right foods for them and spend time with their children and whatnot. And so I think that it's really, really important to connect on a deeper level as a business coach with women so that we can get to the core of things. And once we get to the core of things and we energetically align people, that's when I see people start to take off. And that's when I see people start to be much more balanced. They're not coming from a place of desperation. They're not chasing money. They're magnetizing money. They're not chasing clients. They're magnetizing clients. They're not feeling burnt out. They're actually getting rest, but they're also very actively and curiously and joyously getting new ideas and trying new things and facing their fears and just getting out of their comfort zones. So those are the things that I do. Now Abdul hasn't popped back in yet, so I'll pop out of here and maybe we'll finish on another note. Thank you guys for watching.
The closing point.
Yeah, I finished answering your question just because you popped out and I thought I'll finish. But essentially, I was just saying how when people work with me, they connect to their souls, they connect to their rhythm, they have the ability to really skyrocket their business from a balanced place. and I use my intuition to help them. I have 2 different programs that I offer. One is just a full day offering where someone comes in, they can ask me 20 questions, or I can just tune into their energy and I can give a bunch of messages from their higher self about their business over a 4-hour session. Or I have people that work with me over a period of intensive 3 months, and we do either weekly calls or bi-weekly calls, and I give them homework, and it's pretty intensive, but there's a lot of up levels that can happen in a very short period of time for people that are ready. So I like to work pretty intensely. I don't like
Yeah.
to, do a month here, a little bit of I like to, let's get it all together. Let's organize it. Let's hash it out. Let's see where you're at, what you can do, what you can create, and then go out in the world and do it once we're done working together.
Wow, Selena, yeah, like it's really amazing that you are offering, and I believe it can be beneficial for all of them. And in the end, I'm really thankful to you, and I believe that because I have some references that you help them in that kind of businesses, which is really amazing.
Thank
So
you.
that's the reason, and I'm also looking for your consulting, and let's see how we can work on this. And in the end, thank you so much for your precious time,
Yes,
and
thank you.
God bless you. God bless your family, and see you soon. Stay in touch. Bye bye. Thank
Bye.
you. Thank
God
you. Bye
bless
bye.
you. God bless you all. Thanks for having me.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.